Your band, where you guys from, and what's your inspiration?
Well, originally Justin and I grew up in New Jersey. We grew up we didn't grow up in a musical household, so pretty much everything I brought to the table that I found, Justin kind of listened to because we were always playing it in the same room as each other. And eventually we found some instruments and started banging away, and then we said, hey, it's time to start a band. Then we found Counterpart, Metal Mike, and things evolved from there.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a funny story. I wasn't always in a band. It was just kind of a hobby of mine, building guitars, fixing them up, things like that. And that's actually where I met this guy. He had a guitar that needed some work done. Long story short, the guitar is gone, but the band is not. Basically, we just kind of met from there. He knew I played bass a little bit. Kind of showed up one day at his house, just started jamming around on it there. Had a good old time with it. Next thing you know, I'm in the band.
How'd you guys come up with the name Semblance of the Soul? What does that mean?
It's an interesting question, actually. I was 16 years old, and I was at school, and my teacher said the semblance of reality. And I went home, and I called up my friend Jay. He's a couple years older than me, a smart guy, and I said, hey, Jay, what does semblance mean? I like the sound of it, but what does that word mean? And he goes, well, it means the thought, idea, image of something. And I said, wow. So, and then I looked at him. At this time, we were thinking about having him in the band. It didn't work out, but I was like, hey, Jay, how about Semblance of a Soul? And he looked at me, and he hated all my other band name ideas. I had 1,000,001 of them, but he hated everything. And this was the one that was like, that's not bad. And now at 23 years old, it kind of stuck. So we've been working this name for 3 years now, and people like it. It's a nice acronym, SOS. It's a little kind of
like stuck on stupid.
Better than driving hybrids.
A little duality meaning there, because you get the thought, idea, or image of the soul, but you also get, save our souls. Okay. So there's kind of a partnership with the acronym.
Fair enough. Now, obviously, this show talks about positive people, places, and things within the Hudson Valley. Can you name some places that you may have played at? What have you guys been doing with your music?
Oh, absolutely. Every semester at Dutchess Community College, myself and my band, we host a benefit concert. The first one we did was called Rock for the Cause.
That was actually my first appearance with the band, the first Rock for the Cause.
Yeah. And we did a benefit for the American Cancer Society. And then we raised, I think, something like $500-600. Then the next semester we did Rock for the Cause 2, which was a benefit for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and we raised over $1,200 in conjunction with the school, which was the biggest in school charity history.
Yeah, it's a record over there at Dutchess.
And then we headlined a show that my friend put together, and she used my title, Rock for the Cause. And it was the third one, and I'm planning on doing another this semester. And we're always playing for charity. We have a charity concert coming up on August 29th. I don't have the date, or I don't have the address on me at the moment, but we have a bunch of things that we do to try and help the community. I always like to give back as much as I can, and I think that's the main reason we write music. Is, a lot of music out there nowadays talks about fantasy and things that can't necessarily be captured in reality, and therefore they've made fantasy seem normal. And I think the most surreal thing to people is reality. So why not give them a heaping dose of it?
I can dig. Who's your guys' inspiration?
I have many inspirations myself. Mike's an inspiration to me just for being opening up enough to give someone an opportunity. Somebody didn't really know that well enough, and ended up working out great. Music-wise, a lot of bands, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Pantera, Slayer, those guys have always been a huge inspiration for me. And then just guys like Damon here, just the hard-working guys who just get up every day and just do their thing, and they push forward, to try to make everything a better place, especially with this program that he's working with, just, making the Hudson Valley a better place. How could you not be inspired by someone like that?
Band, Breaking Benjamin, Metallica, Nickelback.
He kind of looks like the Joker, doesn't he?
Yeah, we have a lot of influences. I know myself, I went through Dutchess Community College's music education program, And while I was in there, I studied a lot of classical music, a lot of Baroque and different kinds of styles. And you'd be really fascinated, even in a rock and roll setting, what kind of interesting things you can find in, you know, classical music or even in stuff that was years back. You know, Beethoven, I think, was the first original metalhead. That dude played it loud and played it hard every time. So I think there's a lot of influences, like my brother said, Breaking Benjamin, Metallica, Stone Sour, Nickelback, Seether, Creed, the list goes on and on. But really, it amalgamates into whatever we feel.
Amalgamates. That's a Webster word, huh?
Ah, yeah. I got a bunch of $5 words in my pocket.
I got him a page-a-day calendar for his birthday. He's just been, every day just ripping one off.
Great. You guys are watching.
Today was Articulate.
Correspondence was another one he used.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, for
Thank you,
having us.
Mr. Finch.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
Once again, you're watching The Path. Once again, I'm Damon Finch, and I'm here with Mr. Arthur Mitchell, a martial artist and also a star of a local video here within the Hudson Valley. How you doing, Arthur?
Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Great, great. What brings you here to our studio?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the movie that I wrote and put together. The movie's called The Miracle Round. So, what would you like to know about it?
What is the Miracle Round? Tell me about that.
Okay, so I created a character, a mixed martial arts fighter, and he's very egotistical. He's at the top of his game. It's all about him. And what happens during one of these underground matches, a certain tragedy happens that makes him rethink what he values in life. So that's basically the premise of what I came up with for this movie.
And you're a martial artist, you know, and obviously we talk about positivity, staying focused, helping people, not hurting others, but yet you're a martial artist. What aspects of martial arts, besides the violence part of it, would you consider martial arts a violent thing, a positive thing? What about martial arts attracts you to that?
Well, there was always a discipline to it, and I enjoyed the physical training of it, being in such good physical shape, but also there was the meditation art that was taught in it. And it's interesting, my sensei was Officer Stephen Gamma, who's a former police officer here in the city of Newburgh. And he always had meditation in his art. And when I was looking for a martial art to study, it had to have several things. One, I wanted to have full contact sparring because you want to know if your technique is real. You want to know does it really work. And two, I had to have meditation in the art because I feel that's the ultimate purpose of a martial art. It's not to build these skilled fighters who can bludgeon people, but I think it's basically to build people who are more spiritually evolved. And your question reminded me of an episode of Kung Fu. I was watching, and small Kwai Ching Caine, when he was a youngster, was asking one of the masters as they were practicing their arts and stuff. He says, "Master, if we're peaceful people, why do we learn such arts?" And the master answered him saying, "A man of peace must not be weak." So I feel that's important. I believe that peace and strength are not separate entities. And they go off on the scripture in the Bible where it speaks about how the lion will lay down with the lamb. What that scripture really means is that peace, innocence, and strength are not in conflict. They go together. If you're strong, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not peaceful. If you're peaceful, it doesn't mean that you're weak. And that's a mind, a thought that expands the minds of people.
So that's the basis of yin yang, obviously. Mm-hmm. And if all good there's evil, all evil there's good.
Yeah.
Indeed. One thing about your art, could you tell us about what is your discipline? What martial art do you study, and what do you enjoy the most about it?
Okay. I started off with boxing. My father taught me boxing when I was a young kid. He owned a gym and he was a trainer himself. Later I took a little taekwondo, which was okay. But Steve Gamma is the sensei who I received my second degree black belt in Inazuma Te-Ryu Jiu-Jitsu. And this jiu-jitsu is